Imagine waking one morning to find everything gone, family shattered, home reduced to ash, and only the howling wind of an endless desert remains. How would you survive when hope burns out with the city? This isn't an ancient myth, it's the untold story of Lot's daughters in the Bible. When Sodom was consumed by divine wrath, they didn't just flee death, they faced unthinkable choices to endure. Their story isn't merely a physical journey, but a battle of the soul, where faith, despair, and hope collide. Is there a light in the darkness? Any promise amid the ashes? Join us on an emotional and challenging spiritual odyssey. Let's begin now. Gray-white smoke clung to the sky, swirling like somber clouds, sketching the fading outline of a lost past. Beneath heaven's scorching fire, Sodom, once vibrant and prosperous, lay reduced to ash and rubble, the wind's wail piercing collapsed structures. On cracked earth, three figures trudged wearily, leaving behind a scene of annihilation, a stark reminder of God's righteous might. Lot, the father, led the way, his steps heavy with the grief of losing his wife, who, lingering to glance back, became a cold pillar of salt. His face was pensive, eyes glinting with the torment of a heart grappling with tragedy. Behind him, his two daughters, nameless in Scripture's ancient pages, clung to each other, walking in silence as if each gust might steal their last shred of hope. The elder daughter, about 20, bore a refined beauty shadowed by deep sorrow. Her once bright eyes now carried grief, reflecting fears for an unclear future. Her long hair disheveled from their frantic escape, framed shoulders bearing the weight of stepping beyond youth to become the family's pillar. In her, one sees latent strength, a smoldering inner flame, ready to guide through encroaching darkness. The younger, her hair tangled like her chaotic emotions, was a girl rocked by life's greatest upheaval. Her innocent, fearful eyes sought comfort in her sister's embrace. Each step wobbled, as if the thin ash beneath might dissolve. In that moment, their bond became sacred, a testament to sisterhood triumphing over tragedy. They reached a small cave on Zoar's mountainside, where nature offered rare stillness. The narrow cave, floored with gravel, let dim light filter through crags, casting faint beams like fragile hopes. Inside, no voices, no altar, no trace of past life, only solitude, forcing the three to face their raw selves, fears, and unanswerable questions. Their food was meager, damp wheat grains and rainwater pooled in rock crevices, enough to stave off hunger but not the thirst for hope. Sparse meals stretched into long silences. Lot, head bowed over dry bread, offered no words. His daughters watched, yearning for a sign, a spark of encouragement, but their mother was gone, and Lot had no voice left. The elder daughter suddenly looked up, her gaze fixed on a fiery sunset, the sky ablaze as if echoing divine judgment. A resolve stirred within. We cannot die silently in this cave. Unspoken, the thought ignited a small flame in her sea of despair. The cave's stillness grew heavier as the younger, trembling, whispered in her turmoil, "If God forsook Sodom, will he guide us?" The fear threatened to choke her heart, but the elder, with a gentle smile and steadfast eyes, answered silently, "We can only trust what we cannot see." In that instant, faith ceased to be abstract, becoming the soil-nourishing hope. The cave became an impromptu sanctuary, each lost in quiet reflection, leaning on secret prayers. Lot, stooping, traced Sodom's shape in the dirt, then erased it, severing ties to the past. The elder closed her eyes, hands raised, feeling the breeze through the crags. A whisper, "I am still here." The younger, though shaking, gripped her sister's hand, trusting the unknown. Night fell, silver moonlight bathing the cave, speckling the walls with light. They lay close, sisters against the cave's edge, hearing Lot's steady breaths. The wind's howl outside recalled past calamity and looming dangers, yet the moonlight brought strange peace, affirming that even in thick darkness, light endures. Through the long night, they spoke no words, but familial love and empathy sprouted. Lot, though silent, rested a hand on his daughter's shoulders, passing on his last spark of faith. The elder pursed her lips, vowing not to let her sister fall. The younger leaned closer, resolving to grow strong like her sister. This was their first turning point, where faith and hope began to stir. Morning came, fog shrouding the cave's entrance, rendering the three as shadowy forms in a white haze. But as the first sunray pierced the trees, it lit their eyes. Lot's with a will to live, the elders with determination, the youngers with fragile hope. The cave, with its cracks and roughness, became a symbol of their survival journey, a place demanding they rise and forge a path through the harsh desert. Thus began the odyssey of three obscure souls in Zoar, a quest not just for physical endurance, but for the strength of faith and spirit. In their hearts, a hidden flame from bygone days flared anew, ready to lead through life's wilderness, no matter the trials ahead. In this desolate scene, God's faint whisper, however small, kindled enough hope to propel them toward a future. Day after day, the cramped cave grew more stifling. The wind's howl through rocky crevices whispered of a world extinguished. Hunger gnawed, icy pangs tormenting their bodies. But the deeper cruelty was the loneliness enshrouding their souls. Lot's daughters lay close on the gravel floor, listening to their father's faint breaths, the only sound affirming they still lived, though life felt fragile and fear-laden. The elder sister, about 20, hid her hunger behind a refined face, her eyes etched with exhaustion. Resting on a worn stone, she closed her eyes, seeking sleep, but her mind spun with visions of Sodom engulfed in flames, her mother turning to salt, and screams fading into silence. In last night's dream, a flickering flame danced in a pitch-black sky, not burning but guiding, hinting at escape. Recalling it, her heart sparked with faint hope. The younger, her large eyes brimming, brushed away tears as her sister shared the dream. Burying her face in her sister's chest, she sought the fragile warmth that months ago was a safe haven. Now, even that refuge wavered under fate's weight. "Sister," she whispered hesitantly, "are you sure that dream wasn't just hunger's illusion?" Her question, like cold water on hot oil, stirred simmering doubts. Outside, the vast desert stretched barren, cracked sand bearing faint caravan tracks. Each dawn forced them to face harsh truth. Food was nearly gone, water rationed to drops, and no sign of travelers appeared. Faith, once nurtured by God's promises, seemed to fade, leaving a chasm between them and the future. Lot, their father, slumped in the cave's corner, back against the wall, staring blankly. He ignored his daughter's pleading looks. Each stir from them drew only a grimace, as if memories pained him. His wife's image, turning back to Sodom, becoming salt, haunted his every breath. Lot's silence wasn't just grief. It was a pause for a wound too vast for words. Tensions flared as dawn's light crept through the crags. The elder sister bolted upright, eyes alight. Last night I saw a flame in the sky, not destroying but guiding. I believe it's God's sign to lead us from despair. Her voice trembled but held firm. The younger sat up, tears streaming, shaking her head. You speak well, but if we leave, we'll die of thirst or hunger. The desert's too vast and we're too small. Her words pierced her sister's heart, dousing lingering hope. They stared in silence. Outside, the wind mocked their powerlessness against nature's cruelty. The elder felt the rift in their own, one side clinging to unproven promises, the other to reason's caution. Lot remained mute, his distant gaze offering no counsel, as if his voice died with their mother. In that moment, the elder realized survival couldn't rely on their father or anyone else. Faith to shine must spark from her own heart. Breathing deeply, she suppressed fear and touched her sister's shoulder. I know you're scared, but if we wait, we'll die in silence. I want to lead us out. The younger searched her sister's eyes for certainty. The gap between them narrowed. They alone could be each other's strength in this desert. Memories flooded back. Joyful days with their mother, afternoons playing in vineyards, laughter filling their home. Now mere echoes, these memories fueled their resolve. The younger gripped her sister's hand, trembling but with steadying eyes. If you go, I'll follow. No question lingered, her resolve was sealed. The three stood, eyes on the cave's mouth, where dawn's first rays pierced the earth. They knew the path held thirst, hunger, and desert traps, quicksand, beasts, or hostile nomads. But staying meant no escape. The elder breathed deeply, telling herself, faith doesn't always need instant proof. Sometimes it's just the first step. Lot rose too. He bowed his head as if hearing an inner voice, then raised a hand skyward. Wordless, but a sign he'd join his daughters, despite the storm ahead. The three stepped from the cave, leaving its darkness, entering dawn's hazy light. On golden sand, Lot and his daughters walked slowly but resolutely. Each step was a silent prayer that the dream's flame would appear, guiding them to an oasis. Fear lingered, but a new spark of hope dimmed it. Isolation, soul and body were now tests to prove. If you dare believe, you can find light, even a faint torch in the vast desert. The initial conflict, fear versus hope, reason versus faith, ignited a drive to transcend their limits. The journey loomed arduous, but the fire in their eyes blazed, fueling their next steps toward peace, or at least to affirm they wouldn't yield to darkness. The elder sister paused, gathering their meager remnants, a half-broken clay jug, a few dry grains, a small wooden torch, then locked eyes with her younger sibling. The desert sun seared their skin like a blade, yet her gaze sparkled with a resolve. Without lengthy words, she gently clasped her sister's hand, pouring all her faith and will to survive into that touch. We cannot die in this cave, she whispered, her parched lips barely moving. But the words rang strong, soothing the fear gripping their chests. Stepping from the cave, they met brutal heat. The cracked sand scorched their feet, dry wind stung their eyes. But they pressed on. The elder led, back straight, shoulders broad like a shield for her frail sister. Each step was a silent prayer, pleading for God to see their small effort. At times she paused, scanning the distant horizon for a miracle, a desert shrub, a glint of water in a crevice, or simply a spark of hope in the vast wilderness. The younger sister trailed close, her slight frame trembling from exhaustion and gnawing hunger. She bit her lip, fighting thirst, steadying her ragged breasts. When her legs faltered, the elder turned, offering a faint smile to bolster courage. "I'm here," her eyes in firm grip said, words unneeded. Spotting a narrow rocky crevice, the elder froze. A feeble stream trickled through arid stones, like an arrow finding its mark amid sand and dust. They rushed forward, hearts pounding with emotion. Without hesitation, they knelt, trembling hands touching the cool water. Its soothing touch spread through them, as if each drop carried God's mercy into the harsh desert. The elder looked to the wide sky where ashen clouds drifted and whispered, "Thank you." Her voice, soft in the still air, held raw gratitude. No flourish, just boundless thanks. The younger closed her eyes, breathing in the crisp air, feeling revival pulse through her veins. But the miracle didn't end there. As they turned to fetch food from the cave, they saw their father Lot lying motionless nearby. Collapsed in the desert, eyes shut, lips blue from dehydration, he looked like a lone statue in the wasteland. The sisters froze, hearts racing, but a fierce strength surged. Youth, familial love, or the faith blazing in the elder's heart urged, "We must save Father." Without pause, they knelt, one supporting Lot's head, the other his back, dragging him inch by inch to the stream. Under the blazing sun, sweat beaded on their brows, but they didn't rest. Unity, love, and boundless faith fused them into a singular force, strong enough to pull a broken man from the abyss. At the stream, they propped Lot up, pouring water into his mouth. He mumbled faintly, eyes closed, but color crept back to his face. His eyelids fluttered, revealing a gaze of worry, gratitude, and unspoken pride. In that moment, they saw the power of family and faith, forces defying physical limits, marking victory over despair. As night fell, they kindled a flickering fire from the dry torch. Flames danced on their weary but hopeful faces. In the dark, the elder nodded toward the horizon, where her dream's guiding flame lingered, and smiled. Though faint, that light glowed in her eyes. The younger, brushing back her hair, saw her eyes shine for the first time since their terror, thinking, "We've taken the first step." In the quiet, only the fire's crackle and their steady breaths sounded. Words were sparse. Their hearts' harmony bound them as a resilient family. That night, they shared crumbs of stale bread, savoring its bittersweet taste, the flavor of survival and brimming faith. Dawn broke and they resumed their trek. The elder's torch seemed to burn brighter, lighting their path over dunes. Each meter forward declared they were no longer helpless victims, but bold challengers of fate. The younger, no longer cowering, stepped firmly, eyeing the open horizon with new faith. They spotted strange tracks, perhaps from nomads or beasts, but fear no longer ruled. The elder, drawing from her dream in the stream, reasoned, with enough clues they'd find a true oasis. She paused, sketching a crevice in the sand, beckoning her sister. The younger nodded, spotting a rocky dip where old water left salt traces, a precious hint for their next hope. This hope flared like a blaze in the vast desert, fueling their hearts. They didn't stop, though legs ached and stomachs growled. They knew hesitation might let God's miracle pass, leaving them lost in dust. Their journey wasn't just physical, but a transformation of mind and soul. From trembling first steps, they became courageous, unafraid of danger. From the stream's cool drops, they found life. From prayers by its banks, they felt grace. From family unity, they discovered love and faith's invincible strength. Thus, Lot and his daughters pressed through the boundless desert, carrying not just food and water, but an unquenchable flame of faith, kindling hope amid hardship. Their small actions opened a new chapter. Not mere survival, but a testament to hope and faith's value against all odds. The desert's blistering sun seemed poised to crush all hope. But as they crossed scorching sands, a small, serene valley emerged, a gentle oasis amid a sea of fire. Lush trees rose from cracked brown earth. Wildflowers bloomed shyly, and a lake shimmered like a mirror, reflecting a clear sky. The air was so calm that their footsteps softened, leaving only steady breaths mingling with the cool mist from the lake. For a fleeting moment, they felt they'd found a forgotten paradise, a refuge from pain and fear. The elder sister, drenched in sweat, inhaled deeply, cool breezes soothing her weary shoulders. Brushing back tangled hair, she gazed at the lake's rippling surface, her lips curving into a smile, the first since days of dust and desolation. The younger sister flung her arms around her, tears streaking her gaunt cheeks, soaking into her sister's collar. Wordless, they savored the sweet stillness, as if this harsh desert had gifted them a patch of love and hope. But their fragile joy shattered. From the grove, clattering footsteps jolted them from their dream. A band of nomads appeared, sun-darkened faces and steel-cold eyes marking them as intruders in the valley's peace. A burly man stepped forward, his gravelly voice booming, "Give us water! Got food? Now!" His menacing tone, laced with aggression, turned the tranquil air into a cauldron of dread. The elder sister instinctively shielded her sister and father, stepping back, nudging the younger behind Lot. Her shadow flickered on the sand, shoulders high, a steadfast barrier. Her face was stern, eyes locked on the lead nomad with unmistakable defiance. Fear lingered, but resolve burned stronger. She would not let harm touch her family. Time seemed to freeze. Sand glowed golden, leaves rustled in the breeze, and sunlight pierced the foliage, casting dancing beams. The younger sister, dazed, watched the dreamlike scene, heart pounding, breaths breaking. Lot, though weary, leaned on her, his eyes glinting with faint trust in his elder daughter's strength. At the crisis's peak, the elder chose not to meet violence with force, but to wield her faith. Kneeling on the cracked sand, knees sinking, she raised her hands skyward, her heart reaching for heaven. "Lord," she prayed, voice trembling yet fervent, "if you hear the pleas of the innocent, protect us now. Grant them mercy, or at least give us another path." The air grew heavy as if awaiting a miracle. The nomads paused, their fierce eyes flickering with unease. Silence stretched, broken only by the breeze weaving through leaves, carrying an unseen presence's whisper. Suddenly, a fierce gust roared down, hurling clouds of fine dust. It sounded like thunder. Sand swirled, trees swayed, and the nomads recoiled in fear. One shouted, "A miracle! God is angry!" The cry echoed through the valley, sparking panic. In moments, the once bold nomads fled, dissolving into the dust, leaving behind half-empty bowls and wilted sacks. None looked back, only the fading wind affirming a divine power had shielded the three weary travelers. As the dust settled, the elder sister sobbed, shoulders shaking with each gasp. She rushed to embrace her sister, then gently stroked Lot's hair, tears streaming, but eyes alight with joy. "God is still with us," she whispered, etching the truth into their hearts. The younger, face wet, gazed at her sister, faith flooding back. The three clung together, each breath pulsing with new life. This wasn't just escape from danger, but a testament. Faith is never futile. The sisters in Lot realized that no matter the world's cruelty, clinging to God brought miracles when needed most. They chose faith in despair, and faith didn't abandon them. Night fell slowly, the valley bathed in silver moonlight and thin mist. The three huddled by the lake, kindling a small fire from scavenged wood. Flames danced, casting warm glows on their faces, easing the desert night's chill. In the quiet, words were few. Their hearts spoke through steady beats. They'd conquered their greatest trial through courage and unwavering faith. The elder looked to the starry sky, whispering, "We survived by faith, and I'll never forget this night." The younger gripped her hand, warmth spreading, resolving, "Tomorrow we'll keep going, more to discover, more to overcome." Lot nodded silently, his proud, hopeful gaze resting on his daughters. He touched their hearts, passing on his final strength. In the tranquil valley, three shadowy figures rose, ready to press on. They knew storms lay ahead, but their hearts held an unquenchable flame. Faith, family love, and hope that never fades. As dawn's light filtered through the leaves, the small valley awoke in a gentle golden glow. Lot and his two daughters opened their eyes, realizing they stood at the threshold of a new chapter. Under a clear sky, by a lake mirroring white clouds, with wildflowers swaying in the breeze, they felt the first pulse of peace after endless hardship. No longer shadows in a cramped cave, they became builders of hope, nurturing life from once barren, ravaged soil. The elder sister, hands calloused by desert winds, began teaching her younger sibling to choose seeds carefully. Stooping, she listened to the rustle of dry leaves, discerning moist from hard soil. Her eyes sparked with ingenuity and patience. "Take this grain, plant it in the earth, cover it lightly with loose soil. Water it twice daily, morning and evening, when the sun isn't harsh." The younger watched intently, mimicking her sister's motions, a glint of hope in her eyes. "Sister, if these sprout, we'll have food, no more fear of hunger." By the lake, Lot observed his daughter's every move. Silent, he nodded, marveling at their transformation. Days passed, and they filtered water, a seemingly mundane task that held life-changing power. The elder used coarse cloth to strain impurities. The younger poured water through layered fabric, until clear drops fell into a stone basin. Each time their eyes met a simple, pure meal, gratitude surged. Water was no longer a distant dream, but a reality sustaining them. And they prayed, not with ornate words, but with soul-deep whispers. The elder often knelt on damp sand, hands outstretched, murmuring, "Lord, grant us strength and wisdom to rebuild. Don't let our hope fade in this desert." The younger sat beside her, hands clasped, eyes closed, lips moving with her deepest pleas. In those sacred moments, the wind's howl softened, as if listening, carrying their prayers across the cosmos. Day by day, green sprouts pierced the earth, banishing the desert's barren image. Tender wheat bowed in the morning light, as if thanking caring hands. The elder smiled, fulfilled, at the first leaves. The younger cheered softly, "Sister, we did it." The family erupted in joy, tears brimming as they saw their labor wasn't in vain when paired with faith and love. Simple meals, homegrown greens, berries, pure spring water, became sacred. Gone were the days of jolting awake from hunger. Around the fire, they shared stories of trials overcome, their mother's transformation into salt, and the dream's guiding flame. These weren't just memories, but proof of faith's enduring strength. Scripture records the sisters' story briefly, yet it echoes through this valley. Debates linger about their later choices, but none can deny that in their darkest night, they found grace's light. Some ask, did their actions cross moral lines? In the desert's harshness, their only law was survival and trust in God. Their story isn't just ancient history, it's a metaphor for us. We all face personal deserts. When life shuts down, dreams die, or faith feels crushed. Like the sisters, we can kindle an inner flame. Trust the faintest light, face challenges despite fear, and witness the miracle of perseverance fused with faith. If you're in your own desert, grieving family, facing financial ruin, or doubting yourself, remember this tale. Find the small valley in your heart, plant hope seeds, and nurture them with fervent faith. No matter how cold or rejecting the world, if you don't give up, miracles will come in their own way. Thank you, viewers in the US and beyond, for joining this untold story. If inspired, subscribe to catch more spiritual journeys. Share this with anyone needing hope's light, and comment on your own desert experience. How did you overcome? Next week, we'll explore another biblical woman, a beacon of faith and courage in seemingly hopeless times. See you then, and may God bless us all.